Right now, something is pumping energy into planet Earth equal to 400,000 Hiroshima bombs every single day. Sounds insane, right? But that's a real number, and it's tied directly to a name you've been hearing everywhere lately, El Niño. What is El Niño? Why is it called a global disaster? And if it's so dangerous, why does the media barely talk about it? In part 1, we're going to take this monster apart from the ground up, and surprisingly, it all begins with just a few gusts of wind. First, picture yourself stopped at a red light in the middle of a packed intersection. You count the seconds for it to turn green, and when it does, what do? Obviously, you squeeze into any open gap to get moving, to escape the crush. Air molecules behave exactly like us. Everything wants to leave the crowded spot for somewhere more open, somewhere easier to breathe. When it's cold, gas particles are sluggish and clump together, creating a zone of high pressure, crowded and tense. Where it's warmer, particles get excited, collide and spread out. That's low pressure, open and easy. And when air rushes from high pressure to low pressure to grab that open space, we call that wind. And the harder and longer the wind blows, the more interesting things start to happen. Now let's zoom that intersection out to the size of the Pacific Ocean. On one side is Southeast Asia, directly across is Central and South America. The sun beats down hardest at the equator, so it's always warmer here than the rest of the planet. Heat makes the air rise, dragging water vapor up from the sea surface along with it. Add in the Earth's spin, and you get a steady wind blowing from South America towards Southeast Asia, year after year. This relentless wind has a name, the trade winds, because for centuries, merchants rode them across the ocean to do business. That constant wind also drags the ocean's warm surface water, piling it all up on the Southeast Asian side. With the warm water gone, cold water from the deep wells up off the coast of South America to take its place. So we get a balance, warm, low-pressure water in the west and cold, high-pressure water in the east. Thanks to that warm water and low pressure, Southeast Asia stays humid, rainy and storm-prone. Forests flourish, life thrives, and people gather on the fertile plains to live off nature's bounty. The South American coast is the exact opposite: cold sea, little evaporation, almost no rain, so almost nothing grows. Over time, that land dries out completely, becoming the Atacama Desert, one of the driest places on the entire planet. Just a few winds, and one side becomes a thriving paradise, the other a lifeless desert. People migrated here, built nations and civilizations, all resting on that delicate balance. So what happens if it breaks? That is exactly when the name El Niño steps onto the stage. The trade winds aren't always strong, they're driven by many factors, and sometimes they simply weaken. When the wind weakens, so does the force holding that warm water in the west, and the warm water starts sliding back towards South America. And when that warm water moves, an entire ecosystem flips completely. First, Southeast Asia loses its humidity and falls into a long drought, just like the desert on the other side. With no rain, the rivers run dry, hitting people's livelihoods and harvests directly. Less rain also drains the hydroelectric dams, cutting power generation and leaving people short on electricity. Heat plus dry vegetation is the perfect recipe for wildfires, especially across huge regions like Indonesia. Those fires pump out enormous amounts of CO2 and a thick haze that blankets entire countries, and that is only the surface. Underwater, the rising temperature bleaches the coral reefs and kills them off, hitting the fisheries that feed entire nations. Meanwhile, Central and South America cop the reverse: relentless heavy rain, flooding, and devastating landslides. And below the surface, the returning warm water blocks the cold, nutrient-rich water from rising, so marine life dies off in huge numbers. El Niño even hits the economy. Low rainfall drops the level of the Panama Canal, throttling ships and choking global trade. A disaster this brutal, so why the cute name? El Niño is Spanish for the little boy, a reference to the Christ child. It's because Peruvian fishermen centuries ago noticed this strange warm current tended to arrive right around Christmas. At first they thought it was a gift from above, a hopeful spiritual sign. But the reality is the opposite. This is no Christ child. It's a demon that wakes up every time the trade winds grow weak. But here's the thing, El Niño is only half the story. It has an equally terrifying sister called La Niña, and a super version that can be far more devastating. And scarier still, one of these is forecast to return at the end of this year. I'll see you in part 2. Make sure you subscribe. If you want to truly understand everything, subscribe and hit that like button. I'll see you in the next one.